Hey everyone, welcome back to Fate Stay Night Remastered the Jurgen Jays. So, to preface with this episode, I kind of said it as a joke in the last episode, 62. I was like, I had a light cough going, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get sick again. I actually got sick again. So, I am recording still. Most of the time I don't record when I'm sick, but that's mostly because um, most of my issues when I'm sick usually is sinus, or I just get really bad allergies, have hay fever, not actual fever or anything, but um, yeah. So I'm still able to talk just fine, just feel achy and stuff like that. I don't know what has been wrong with my immune system. I mean, there's been other factors going into play that has caused my health to kind of get compromised a bit, but those have been things kind of outside of my control, such as when I was in New Orleans, just a lot of secondhand smoke that I was around. That I don't live with smokers, I never have, and I don't work with people that smoke, so I'm just not used to being around that. And then also this past week, having been at kids camp and stuff like that, while still recovering from being sick the first time around, I think just bam didn't add up quite so well, and a lot of nights that I didn't sleep well. So anyways, let's go on and get into it, shall we? Make the most of this. Venturing so brazenly into dangerous waters can lead only to death. Oh yeah, Shirou is currently practicing, seeing if he can do projection again. End of hypothesis. Now, instant nothingness. Alright. I erase the blueprint that was in my head. A shadow falls across the door. Saber comes in, her frame blocking out the light of the moon. Good. You are here, Shirou. Well, I guess there's only so many places Shirou would be. I was about to ask, how do you know I'm here? It's kind of obvious. I could not find you, and was worried something might have happened. Huh? No, nothing's happened. I couldn't sleep, so I came here to do some mental exercises. Once I finish, I'll head back to my room, so you don't need to worry, or I'll pass out right here, as I've been known to do. I see. That is fine then. Saber focuses on my forehead. I love foreheads. Man, when I meet someone new and I'm just checking them out, I just look all over that forehead, look at that glisten. The bigger the forehead, the better, honestly. Can't lie. She can probably see that I'm dripping with sweat. Oh, that's right, you're looking at forehead. It's always like this, don't worry. Mages have to practice their magecraft. And, well, failure comes with the territory for an amateur like me. I wipe the sweat from my brow with the back of the hand. Oh, I'm surprised. My sweat is cold as ice. It's cold as ice. I thought it was cold, but I don't remember the shed being quite this cold. Shirou, have you been doing this every day? Well, yeah, as much as I possibly could. It's a daily routine my old man taught me, so I should at least keep to it. As soon as I finish speaking, I regret my bluff. I regret telling her this is my daily routine. My intent was to boast to Saber. At the end of the day, my training isn't just some chore to me. But it isn't the easiest of tasks either. Saber says nothing. The moon hangs behind her, its light spilling around her frame. The shed, plunged into bluish darkness, is illuminated by the few shafts of silvery light that make it past Saber. I recall the first night I met her. Saber? Tosaka said something to me today. That moment felt just like a dream. Oh yeah, I guess, also, just thinking about it, they met in this room. Like, he was being attacked by Archer, or Lancer, not Archer, and summoned her here. Is it true that servants don't dream? I can't stop myself from asking. That is correct. We do not have dreams. Servants are spiritual forms, and so we do not sleep to begin with. Then how did you dream? Question. I'm forced to sleep because I cannot turn into spiritual form, but I still do not dream. But this morning you said... Dot dot dot. There is a brief silence. She closes her eyes, then, apparently having made up her mind. The dream I had, Shirou, was yours. That's kind of what I was thinking. She probably saw a bit of my past, just like I've seen for her. Master and servant are mentally connected. If the connection becomes strong enough, there are times when they will experience each other's memories. You dreamed of my past? Yes. It is tantamount to stepping into your mind, but I was not able to prevent it from happening. Please forgive me for that, Shirou. Don't leave me. Cuddle me all night long, and while we whisper sweet nothings into each other's ears about each other's traumatic past. Oh, it'll be so nice. I did the same thing. Saber's past. I've seen several scenes from her life before she became a servant now. Don't be silly. That's not your fault. You can't help what you dream about. And I have to apologize too. My past is pretty boring. Saying something that boring probably makes you not want to have to sleep. No, this morning was the first such dream I had. I did not see anything recent, so I did not infringe on your privacy as a young man. Saber is dead serious about that warning. But privacy? Well, yeah, sure. I've done my share of dumb things. That's a relief. But if you're saying you didn't see any recent memories, then how far into the past did you see? You probably saw the event, quote unquote. There was a large fire. Yep, she saw it. That is all I saw. Her voice is quiet. You saw the event that kind of set Shirou onto the path that he's on now. Oh. Whoa, what's that? That's new. Hold on, there's like a big structure right there in the middle. I don't know if you guys caught that. That's not... Whenever we see flashbacks of that scene, that's never there. That dream. I see. Well, I don't know what to say. Did I say it was unfortunate? It's like going to a movie theater, expecting to see a movie you know, but somehow end up in the wrong theater and end up getting a completely different show. Can't relate. Never done that before. It helped me to understand. No, I've been thinking this for some time now, but you have a dangerous side to you. What do you mean by dangerous side? Yeah, exactly. Huh? What do you mean by dangerous? Well, yeah, I'm sure the odds are plenty stacked against me from your point of view. That is not what I meant. What I mean. You are very similar to me. That is why I understand your mistakes. I can see what might happen if you continued on this path. I don't think I've made any mistakes. Sure, I've failed plenty of times, but my goal is to be a champion of justice. Like my old man. A goal like that can't be a mistake. No way. I'm telling you, that is your mistake. Shirou, what happened on that day was not your fault. You could not and should not take responsibility for it. What's the... There's a lot of old movies I've been kind of itching to watch. There's one starring Robin Williams where he's like... it's like, and Matt Damon. And Robin Williams' character is saying it to Matt Damon. It's like, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. And that got turned into a big TikTok sound. There is nothing you need to redeem yourself for. That's obvious. It was just an accident, and I was just the victim. Sure, I may be dealing with survivor's guilt. Well, then, maybe there is a little something more to it. Ren once said that your self-sacrifice and devotion are bizarre, and I agree. You are not sacrificing your life to save others. In fact, at no point did you even consider your own life. What exactly is... Ooh, Okay. Yeah, there's the structure again, right there in the middle. What is... Because I don't know. I want to see. Survivor's guilt. Survivor's guilt is a psychological distressed experience by individuals who have survived a traumatic event while others did not. It involves feelings of guilt, shame, or remorse for surviving when others did not. Oh, so, like, they should have gotten out, not me, kind of a thing. Okay. Just didn't know what that was. Maybe my pupils have dilated. I'm not sure why, but I can't seem to focus on Saber's face. You will never be able to forget that accident, but as long as you remember it, you cannot change. Is that not extremely painful for you? Painful? For me? Well, yeah, that's painful. Saber doesn't have to remind me of that. It is obvious. So many people died. It was absolute hell. Literally everything was on fire. Although, I don't think hell will be like that. I don't think, like, actual hell will be, like, eternal fire or something like that. I won't get into that, but it's an interesting topic. Something like that causing you pain is only natural. And besides, if I didn't feel that, it might all be meaningless. Yeah, you're right. It is painful to remember. But it's in the past now. There's nothing I can do about it. Saber doesn't answer. Instead, she claws at her arm in frustration. I must obtain the Holy Grail. But that also applies to you, Shirou. Saber? You required the Holy Grail. You summoning me was ultimately inevitable, Master. Oh. What do you mean? Yeah, I don't... Are you cluing in on to, like, how I was able to summon you? I don't know how to respond to that. I'm going to bed. Please do not strain yourself over much. Saber leaves. I fold my arms and think. I think and think and think. Do I need the Holy Grail? A vessel that grants wishes to its possessor? A vessel which contains unlimited quantities of magical energy, for which it is said nothing is impossible? Were I to get it, it could easily grant my wish. No, that's wrong. No matter how I look at it, I don't need the Holy Grail. I don't think if he got the Holy Grail, it would satisfy the whole hero of justice thing. I don't know. I feel like maybe it would satisfy some other kind of need that he doesn't even realize he wants. Nope, I definitely don't need it. Because I don't have any wishes that can't come true, or hope for anything that's impossible. I wouldn't have a dream if it weren't something I could attain myself. The night grows darker. In the familiar old shed, lit only by the moon, I listen to the distant world. Save the game. Yep. Next day. I believe, I kind of looked this up off screen at one point. I believe the game ends on the 15th. I could be wrong. So, between the 13th, 14th, and 15th, a lot's about to happen. Since we still have, what? How many servants are still up and at it? 4? Yeah. The sky is gray, the hill crimson with corpses. That's if it's ending in a couple of days. The heavy clouds drift away, heralding the battle's end. I know this scene. I've seen it so many times now. This is one of Saber's battles. She fought and won so many victories. Scenes like this are almost commonplace for her. Yeah. Afterwards, she will return to her castle, where her victory will be praised and celebrated. Then she will prepare for the next battle. Almost describing like the night, light, the what? Oh, I can't speak. The life of a knight. I almost said the light of the knife, or the night of the light, or something. I almost said something really weird. This is just life for her. It is only one of the 12 great battles she fought, and so she does not truly remember victory, so much as she just accepts it as a fact. I think she's misguided. This is not a dream. It's just a cold reality. Her past can't be changed. The moment she drew the sword, she stopped being human. She took over for her father as a feudal lord and became a king with many knights. She was known as King Arthur, in Altria. The life of the girl who once aspired to be a knight changed so radically. No. Was forced to end her life as she knew it, might be a better way to put it. In that instant, the girl who still had such childlike features ceased to be and became the king of knights. She acted like she was the king's son, the ruler of territories, and knights had to be male. Only her father and the mage knew the king was female. She covered herself in iron and hid the truth for the rest of her life. This is information we know, why are we going over it again? I don't know why I never realized the implications until now. As much public exposure as she had, she managed to pass herself off as male the whole time. The sheer suffering she likely endured must have been incredible, but a simple observer could never really understand. You saying, like, suffering by, like, acting out like she was a different gender/sex than she actually is? Is that the pain you're kind of referring to? Time passes. 10 years worth of memories as king. There's only one common thread that entire time. Even when she's on the throne, even when she's walking through the hallway, even when she's on the battlefield, not a soul spoke to her. So very lonely life. Even the round table, filled as it was with knights boasting of their valor, always fell silent the moment the king appeared. So that's what it meant. She was merely tolerated as an idol. Many knights looked down on Altria with her boyish appearance and were completely not comfortable in trusting her with their blades. But because she managed to draw the sacred sword that no one else could, they had to obey, even if only to keep up appearances. They just accepted the disgrace, believed it would pass. Sacred sword or no, the king was merely a child. And female. I don't know if other people would have figured that out over time, but certainly a child as a leader. Yeah. Could definitely rub people wrong. Granted, so this is a cool little tidbit of history that, like, the way that we view adulthood and adolescence now is so different from the way it used to be viewed. Like, for males, they were considered an adult at, like, the age of 12, or, round about there. Even in, like, say, American history, you have, like, say, George Washington, who was, like, 16 years old and, like, had a full-time job, kind of a thing. So it's a very, new in terms of, like, the whole course of human history. It's a very new concept that people in their teens are actually, like, they are their own category. I think it's a good thing that we have progressed in a way that we do put that in its own category, because there is just a lot developmentally that's going on there that I think should have the right environment for it. But it's interesting to think, it's probably thinking child in terms of today's standards, but had this actually been like Arthurian legend times, Middle Ages, this would have actually passed as, like, okay, you're a legit king, even though you're a child. And I mean, people would complain because of the youth of said adult, but I don't think their complaint would be, oh, it's a child. It's like Joffrey. Joffrey in Game of Thrones is stupid, ignorant. Fill in the blank here, but he would have been accepted had he been a few years older. He would have been regarded more so as an adult, Because even I think Jon in Game of Thrones is what, at the beginning of the book series, he's like 16, 17, and he's regarded fully as an adult. Granted, he has his own complications with being a bastard and all that, but this is getting into a tangent. So sorry. I like those books. I've never watched the show, but I like those books a lot. So, and unfortunately, we're never going to get one. But let's move on before I get further down that rabbit hole. Even with Merlin's support, the king would surely fail eventually. When that happens, they need only take the sacred sword from her and select a new king. It's probably what most of the knights thought. But that's not how it went. The knight, only just reaching adulthood, was a flawless king. There we go. She enforced peace among the squabbling lords and fought off invaders as well. So there's that idea of would have been an adult at a much younger age. Of course, this isn't due to the Sacred Sword's powers. The Sacred Sword only protects the king. The king, on the other hand, protects their nation. And through her deeds, she was always able to maintain control of her knights. The Sacred Sword protects her only from her enemies. It does nothing to help her hold sway over the hearts of her subjects. She worked herself to the bone to be the ideal king to all. At that point, the knights had no choice but to obey. They held their dissatisfaction for the young king in check, because the king was truly perfect. She strived to be an ideal king. The only condition for the knights' support was that their king be exactly that, the ideal king. That's heavy. Heavy standards, high expectations. There's no room for Altria to be a human being. She could be a king, and only a king. The peerless knight who drew the sacred sword, who stopped aging from that moment, and who went on to win 12 great wars. The more perfect she became, the more people stayed away from her. As this continued, the king grew more and more isolated. That was who she was. But she did well. In fact, she did too well. She defeated her enemies and minimized her own side's casualties. No matter the battle, sacrifices must be made. So she believed it was her duty to make sacrifices to bolster her army and to defeat the enemy without wasting lives. It reminds me a bit of like a lot of celebrity culture in the States, or even in the UK and stuff. I think that would be very isolating for the celebrities to a degree. Because sure, you have all these people cheering for you, but no one really knows you, and they've kind of idolized you in a way and put you on a pedestal that isn't quite human. And they expect you to live up to that. And when you don't, like, that's why I think cancel culture is a thing, is because when people mess up, granted, cancel culture usually comes into play for harsher situations, but still, like, really tears down that person whenever they do mess up. Granted, sometimes they do need to be very critically looked at, but she would strip the resources from one village to prepare her army, then defeat the invaders before they could strike her land, saving perhaps 10 villages. That was the king's approach, and it proved the best strategy at the time. But the knights must not have been happy. To them, only the foreign invaders should have died, and the only true victory is made without any such sacrifices. There shouldn't be any need to sacrifice a territory before battle. They were going to win regardless, so the sacrifices were pointless. There wouldn't be any sacrifices, so the king's actions were a waste. It was, of course, total nonsense. Once battle began, the kings spared not a thought of those little villages. No one thought twice about trampling the villages. Protecting them was never a consideration. The knights claim there's nothing to be done when the enemy destroys such villages, but to let them be destroyed is a great crime. Obviously, she knew that. But a king cannot worry about their personal feelings. She had to kill her emotions to make her decisions, and her knights had to suppress their own feelings to obey. I feel like, I don't know, as someone in a leadership role, I feel like when you kill your emotions, I don't know, I don't think that makes you an ideal leader. Maybe you're a more clean-cut leader, and things aren't quite so messy around you, but having those emotions, I think, is what's really going to connect, the people underneath you to you, even, when you quote unquote get too emotional and stuff like that. Those moments really help connect you to those people. And so sacrifices are made, and string of victories stabilizes the nation. And in return, animosity for the king grew. King Arthur just doesn't understand how people feel. So one knight was heard to say as they left the castle, "What a ridiculous story. She was expected not to be human, but they hated her precisely because she didn't have any human emotions." Yeah, I think there's also a double standard where a lot of people that want leadership, like, they don't really know what they want in terms of their leader. Like, they want someone that's great, but then they have to sacrifice their own humanity, and then, oh, we don't want them to be too human, because then they wouldn't be great, so on and so forth. It just becomes a very vicious cycle. The Age of War continued. The animosity of the knights who had been dissatisfied with the king only grew more so after that knight left. They forced her to deal with every foreign and domestic enemy in hopes of pushing her over the edge. Collapse was imminent. If these many problems confronting the nation were never resolved, it would crumble. Even if all of them were to be resolved, what awaits is more of the same. But that did not concern the king. Even should she be abandoned, feared, or betrayed, she will remain steadfast. Because she had long since made up her mind. She abandoned her emotions the moment she decided to draw that sword. This happened long, long ago. Knights from across the nation gathered to try to draw the sword from the stone, but none of them could do it, and the knights instead showcased their skills on horseback, eager to crown the best among them king. The knights flocked to the arena in droves. The sword and the stone lay outside, forgotten. From afar, it looked more like a festival. Even in the distance, the sound of valiant cavalrymen clashing is audible. The knights clashed in the distance, and the rock lay forgotten. What was going through the girl's mind as she stood in front of the rock? Before she realized it, an unknown mage stood behind her. Do I get to see what Merlin looks like? Think before you take hold of that. He tries to stop her for her own good. The moment you take that sword, you will cease to be human. He also warned her that many would hate her, and that she would die a gruesome death. She must have been terrified. The mage showed her the future. He showed her the end she would meet if she drew that sword. No. It only made her all the more determined. Even after seeing that future, she only gave a firm nod. The mage asked again if that was what she wanted. I saw many people smiling, so this cannot be a mistake. She took the sword in her hand. I wonder if this, like, the reason why Saber told Shirou that his mistake was his idea of being a hero of justice. I wonder if that is, she's able to point out that mistake because that is in turn what she did by, like, doing this whole sword in the stone thing, becoming a king. She was just sacrificing her whole life for the sake of being remembered as a hero of justice. Didn't really have much value for her own life. She took the sword in her hand. The mage looked troubled and turned away. Miracles come at a price. You will pay what is most precious to you. He departed with those prophetic words. What's most precious to her? That's right. She just wanted to protect everyone. But to do so, she had to abandon her desire to protect people. She cannot protect her country as its king if she still has a human heart. Even knowing this, she drew the sword. Even knowing this, she vowed to live as a king. So, no matter what happens, she will remain steadfast. She abandoned her human heart. She was willing to give that up to protect her nation. Who could have known the girl made such a noble oath? She was determined to fight. Come what may, and however might end, she still decided to fight, even if an inevitable solitary doom awaited her. So how did she eventually end up dying? And her end did come, or maybe we're about to get that. The Battle of Camlann. King Arthur set out on a campaign, and one of her knights usurped her throne, splitting the nation in two and sparking a terrible conflict. Okay. Are they gonna go the, like, traditional Arthurian legend route? Legend has it that this battle brought an end to knighthood and chivalry. She killed every knight who once served her and invaded the lands she'd fought to defend. All the knights who followed her were gone, and her own body lay injured and immobile. There is no one left around her. As ever, nothing has changed. All she had in her heart was the pride of a king. She'd known about this ending. Still, she believed there was something to be gained from this failure, which is why she kept fighting without ever failing or disgracing herself. She had not regrets. If she were to have one, it would be seeing her nation in ruin. Maybe she, like, instinctually somehow in a weird way knew, like, she needed to go through this so that way she could become Shirou's servant and, like, be like, hey, this is why this is a flaw. Sort of a deal. Granted, it's not like she knew about servants in the Holy Grail War and blah, 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 but still, it'd be interesting if there's some kind of tug or pull that got her to live this life just for that purpose. She raised her gaze. Maybe she would be able to see her castle in the distance from this hill. She saw only the aftermath of the battle, a dense forest, and a lake to which she must return. That's right. The hill she meant to charge over has become a wall she can't climb. Strength left her body. For the first time, she loosened her grip on the sacred sword. And that's where it ended. Alright, with that, we're going to resume it in the next episode. Hopefully I'm doing better tomorrow. I don't think what I have is that big of a deal because I've been able to get up and do stuff as opposed to last time I was sick. I was just like bedridden. My head felt like it was about to pop off. I don't feel that. Sorry about any potential quality changes in just my voice and all. But yeah, pretty somber episode. Or somber, maybe not the right word, but interesting one. I'm glad I kind of just got to chill and read for a little bit. So I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Hope you all are doing well. Bye.